Hey guys, have you ever wondered who you come from? What if the answer is that it's just hidden in your DNA? Till the right moment, the right people come along to help you uncover it. This story is about Gene, a man who spent his entire life wondering who his biological father was, only to have the mystery unraveled in the most unexpected way, through a family tree class, with a little help from someone who cared. I'm Jessica, a search angel at DNAngels, nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people uncover their biological roots. For the past 2 years, I've had the honor and privilege of walking through some of the most life-changing experiences with people. Sometimes every case is unique, and some of the stories are more powerful than others and leave you thinking about those people long after their story is over. Gene's story is one of those cases. It was an incredible power of DNA to uncover his truth. Gene grew up believing the man that raised him was his father until he was 10 years old and he discovered the truth. He wasn't his biological dad, and his mother refused to answer any of his questions. She even swore his family to keep the secret. And after her passing, the mystery remained. Until one sunny Saturday in May, something remarkable happened. Gene's wife heard about a family tree DNA seminar, decided he wanted to go to it in town. Gene was unsure. He didn't know what he was going to get out of it since his search had left him hopeless. He agreed to go. They arrived a little late, so they only got to go to one class. As they entered the event, Gene and his wife wandered into the class I was teaching with my friend. The class was what to do with your DNA test results once you've gotten them. It seemed like a good fit. At the end of the class, we did questions and answers, and Gene's wife raised her hand and casually asked if DNAngels could help Gene find his father. She had no idea that such a simple question would set things in motion, and I invited them to stay after class so we could talk more in depth. Gene was unsure, but after the class had ended, he stayed behind. We sat down and explained his situation. I immediately got on to Marco Polo and chatted with our intake specialist, and she told me how to get him through the process so that we could get him started. He was concerned because throughout the years of looking at his DNA, he couldn't find any paternal matches. Well, I pulled up his DNA results and found out that he had a special filter set, one I'd never seen before, and I adjusted it, and all of these new matches came through. You could see in Gene's eyes something had changed. They were uncovering connections. We were finding these people, and I knew we were onto something. The search wasn't easy. Gene's case had layers of complexity, especially because it seemed like Gene's grandfather might be an NPE himself. After some digging, it was clear that Gene's birth father could be one of two brothers. Normally, we handle these cases in chat rooms, and we take cases from all over the United States. So we're chatting in chat rooms, and we give people their answers in these chat rooms. Because Gene was local, I had the opportunity to bring him in person and tell him the answers face to face. Thursday evening, Gene and his wife sat across from me, and I shared the findings. I told him that we had narrowed it down to two potential fathers, showed him a picture of his grandmother. There was one solid lead. Gene had a living uncle, a brother to one of those potential birth fathers. And that uncle would likely hold the pieces to the puzzle. When I showed Gene pictures of his family, pictures of potentially a biological father, it was nothing short of surreal. The look on his face when he saw someone older than him that looked just like him, it was a moment of connection. Tears welled up in his eyes, and it was a moment he'd been waiting for since he was 10. I can't even imagine what the feeling was for him, but you could see in his eyes and his wife's eyes that this is something they'd been waiting for. Though both of the potential fathers passed away, Gene now had a chance to connect with his living uncle and children of those brothers. Gene's wife, as we were wrapping up, said something that really stuck with me. She said, "It feels like fate. We almost didn't come to the seminar. If we hadn't walked into your class, we wouldn't have had this answer. We might have never known the truth." It was an incredibly powerful moment. Sometimes the smallest decision, like whether or not to attend a genealogy class, whether or not to ask those questions, whether or not to even begin the search, can lead us to the biggest breakthroughs in life. I spoke with Gene a little while ago. He's getting ready to contact his uncle. He's taking it slow. He's unsure of what he wants to ask, but he's finally ready to take that first step towards the answers. Gene's journey isn't over. There are still many unanswered questions, and the road ahead might not always be smooth, as with most of us. But the key thing is, Gene now has the answers he was searching for. The pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall into place. There's something incredibly powerful about finding your roots, about understanding where you come from and who you're connected to. For me, it's those people's stories. And it's being able to tell their stories over and over and over so that my daughter knows those stories and she can tell them later in life, so that my family has those stories. And I gave that story to Gene. I was able to tell him his story so that he can share that with his children. And for Gene, it wasn't about finding a biological father. It was about filling an empty space, answering the long-held question, and finding a new piece for him. Sometimes the answers we search for don't come easy. They don't always show up on the first try, but with persistence and the right people, sometimes a little bit of luck, the truth will always emerge. So if Gene's story touched you, if you felt the weight of a missing piece of your own family history, remember this, you're not alone. The truth can be found, and sometimes it's just a conversation away. If you want to support Gene as he moves forward in this journey, drop a purple heart in the comments. And don't forget to visit us at DNAngels, where we help people just like Gene reconnect to their biological roots. Stories like this happen because someone cared enough to give. Their gift helps us reunite families, uncover the truth, and bring peace to those who have spent a lifetime of wondering. You can become an honorary angel. Just visit DNAngels.org. Again, that's DNAangels.org, because everyone deserves to know where they come from. And sometimes all it takes is someone willing to care and help. Until next time, take care and keep searching for your truth.